Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Four Lads Rangers Monday Night Live. It is the eve of the new season. We are excited. We are nervous. Every emotion you could probably feel, but we're ready to discuss it all. Joining me on this live show is indeed our editor, Andrew and Kenny. Gentlemen, good evening. How are we?
Super duper. I'm excited. The football's finally starting. We're still in this happy period where, we can be all optimistic and excited before reality hits. So it's great. This is the best time.
Kenny, you good?
I am, mate. Looking forward to tomorrow night, very much so. And plenty to chat about tonight, so look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll have the usual. We'll look at the press conference today. We'll talk about Panathinaikos. We'll talk about the many transfer rumours. There's a nice new one, a nice shiny new one tonight as well. So that's interesting, one that dropped on our laps this afternoon. So we'll discuss all that as Rangers head into this massive Champions League second round qualifier. We will look at the European draw as well, but all eyes are on Panathinaikos, I think, first and foremost. Where do we start? So we know a bit about them. They finished 16 points behind in their league. They've got some really decent players. Tete, Fotis Ioannidis, the boy that was linked, I think, with a £15 million move, and they weren't going to sell him until after this game. They got Facundo Palestri, who we were linked with a few years ago. So they've got a few recognisable names. I think their big defender, Georgios Kyriapoulos, is their main one, and he's out for tomorrow, I'm led to believe. So there is potential, but Ibrox is sold out. Rangers are ready for it, Kenny, and all the talking's done now. We know the squad, we know what's available, and this is it. It's a massive game, not only in terms of the Champions League, but in terms of Europe and how this is going to look, because we got the draw today, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But everything hinges. There's a lot of hinges on tomorrow. Getting a good start, getting the crowd behind you, European ambitions. We don't do it by half, and we're starting very well tomorrow.
What a game to start your season, isn't it? Champions League, straight in, full house. Russell Martin has a full house in his first game. That's fantastic as well. That's brilliant to see. Place will be rocking tomorrow, and we have a game tomorrow that we really do have to try and make sure we win as best we can. Because next week's going to be very uncomfortable going to play in Athens in that heat. So, as Russell Martin said today, go and dominate the game and just try and dominate it for 90 minutes. I would really love to see that tomorrow. But right from the kick-off, we go at them and we don't stop for the 90 minutes. So, really, as I say, excited about it and can't wait to get down and cheer the boys on. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I must admit, Andrew, I'm delighted to be back at Ibrox tomorrow night. We'll be covering it live from the gantry, myself and David Hurd. But how excited are you looking forward to Rangers being back? And it really is the start of a new era in terms of new ownership, new manager, new style. This is what we asked for, and it's now here.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it is potentially coming a bit too soon for us. The fact that this is our first competitive game isn't ideal, but we can't really do a lot about that. The only way we can really improve our standing there is to go ahead and win the league. So I think it's going to be an interesting first test. We have strengthened, I think, in the majority of the areas that we need to. Up front, still maybe a little bit of a concern, especially given that players that we've newly acquired there aren't potentially going to be fit for this first tie. So it's exciting. I mean, you've got to be excited, right? You go down and see all the lads at the London Loyal at the Bermondsey Beer Killer. So I'll be suitably refreshed come Tuesday evening. I'm looking forward to it. The football's back. And if you can't get excited for Rangers on a Tuesday night for a Champions League qualifier, then, you're not the right business, right?
A lot of people are saying that Rangers aren't ready for tomorrow, that we've undercooked the games and that the friendlies haven't been up to much. Are we giving Panathinaikos more credit than we really deserve in terms of, they're not in a good place. They weren't exactly sparkling last year in their league, Kenny, 16 points behind Olympiacos, who we did fairly well against over in Greece. They're not playing at their home stadium in the second leg. They're not exactly firing on all cylinders, but we seem to have talked ourselves into a situation where this is, going to be a really good result if we manage to get past them instead of going with the mindset perhaps that we should be getting past Panathinaikos. I know it's a new start for us, but this is Ibrox. This is, a home game. We should really be going to win this game tomorrow night.
Yeah, we should. But that does work both ways because, we've only really had one friendly where we've been able to have a look at them. And the first half of that, the team will be utterly unrecognisable from this one. The thing I would suggest about it, Russell Martin kind of pointed to it in his press conference today where he mentioned that the pitch wasn't ready to play more games. So maybe it wasn't ideal to try and force games on it so that people could come and see them, which is fair enough. However, it does kind of make you a little bit apprehensive when it comes to what are we going to be like, because we genuinely don't know. And, Andrew said there, we've got a lot of new players. Some of them will start, some of them won't, but most of them are fit to come on, he was saying anyway. And that for me is really quite exciting that we have this new side, new squad of players, new style of football. And I remember it was last week, I think it was, their manager turned around and said he knew everything about us. Well, no, you don't. You simply don't. You can't possibly, because nobody knows anything about us. We've only played one game, and that was against Bruges, and that team is unrecognisable from the one that's going to start tomorrow. But on your question about Panathinaikos, I don't think we've ever actually beat them, have we? In the 4 games that we've played, 3 draws and a defeat.
I don't think any Scottish team has beat them, and they've played them over 7 ties. I think I read that properly.
Yeah. However, I'm with you on this. I look at that and I think I looked at the game last season over in Athens where we drew with Olympiacos, and we deserved to win that game. Actually, I thought we were the better side over the piece, and if we'd taken our chances, we probably should have won it. There's nothing to fear about a team like this. It's more about us, isn't it, and what we're going to be. That's the thing, that we don't really know ourselves how we're going to be. And as I say, because Russell Martin has a new style of play for us all to come and watch, we don't even know what that's going to be like. So that's where our kind of trepidation is coming from, I think, where everybody's kind of giving it, well, that's a tough tie, because it was probably the toughest draw we could have got in that particular round, and we'll come to the other rounds and later on. But yeah, there's nothing to fear, and Ibrox on a European night, there's nothing matches it. And if you can get them, we don't know what they're like either. That's what I'm saying. And if we can get them, with their backs to the wall under those lights tomorrow night, then I have no doubt in my mind that with the crowd there, it will spur the players on and we can go and get a result tomorrow. I have no real problem or worry about them. It's more about us, as I say, and what we're going to be.
Andrew, Kenny talks about us. I think our team kind of picks itself, really, when you look at it. I'm going to run through a selection and ask you if you would deviate from it in any way. Jack Butland in goals. I think it'll be Tav, Giga, Suter, and Max Aarons. And then Rothwell will sit in the 6 with most likely Diamandi and Raskin with him. Tello Asgard having not trained today. He might sneak the bench, but I don't see him being involved, in all honesty, because of that. Wing, Dowell will start on the right-hand side because that's the way it's been in every kind of bounce game and everything else. And on the left, I think he'll go Finlay Curtis with Danilo starting up front. That gives him then substitutes of Cortez, Gassama, Igamane, Dessers, and they've all had a week or so training as well, full training. I think that's how he goes, and I think with that, there's a couple of things, have we got enough up front? We're going to find that out. But it does also give us an opportunity to make different changes, 60, 70 minutes. Where are you with that, with regards to that selection? Do you think it'll be much different?
I don't think it'll be different, really, from what you've said. I think it should be. But that's because Kieran Dowell appearing in a Rangers shirt always gives me the fear. So, I think we have other options that we could potentially go with, but I'm inclined to agree that I think that will be what we'll end up with. I think it's a massive game for a player like Danilo, because we're still at this stage where Igamane and Dessers, we don't know for sure if they are going to be in our plans this season, but there's no word about him going elsewhere. So I think he has to take this as a good opportunity for himself to try and, embrace the opportunity. And by all accounts, he's been doing very well in the sort of behind closed doors friendlies. He's been getting goals. He's letting you know about them, Stevie. And I think it's a massive opportunity for him, because this is going to be a big game for us. Despite Russell Martin, I think, trying to talk it down, saying that it wasn't a season-defining game, I think it is huge. It needs to be it needs to be treated with that kind of importance. And I think on our day, I don't think anyone can beat us at Ibrox if we approach it with the right mindset. But we've been let down by members of this squad before. So the fact that we still have certain members of that squad in there that are likely to be starting is the only thing that kind of gives me pause for this one.
Yeah, and I think whether we like it or not, I think that's fair. Huge thank you to Johnson, who's donated a super sticker of $1.99. That's not necessary to watch the show as a member. That's all the support we ask for, and I think that's great that you've done that. We really appreciate it, and thank you for doing that. So we really appreciate all the members on YouTube. I think it's 500 strong. So we really appreciate that. So thank you for doing that. Kenny, as we kind of look towards Russell Martin's comments today, there was a lot of interesting stuff in there. First of all, he was quite adamant this is not a game defining moment in the season. He shot that down quite quickly, and he's quite forcefully. I think he's right. Even Champions League wise, it isn't defining. There's a lot riding on it, but I certainly don't think it's season defining or anything like that, because I think that's just people looking for a headline. They want him to respond and say how big it is and things like that. But again, I thought he spoke well. He said a lot of interesting things. Wants the supporters to get right behind the team. And he said something else. We'll come to that kind of separately. I'll leave that just at the moment. But he thinks the team's ready. He wants it to be fast. He wants it to be quick at times. He wants the fans to get behind us. Again, it was a good press conference from Russell Martin, maybe because, we're enjoying the content from him at the moment and it's fresh and it's new. He said all the right things.
He absolutely did say all the right things. I think it was Gordon Duncan that asked him the question, and he was really quite pointed that it will not be a season-defining game. He also pointed to the fact that the squad that starts tomorrow will be very different come the end of this window, we hoped. And that's where I think he's coming from, where I think he's probably fully aware that if we can get the 7 or 8 guys that we want out the door, then there'll be another 3, 4, perhaps 5 players coming in, and the squad will look really different. On this particular game tomorrow night, I always find that kind of question is a really leading question, because they're looking for their headline, as you said. But it's one of those that you look at and you say, well, we're going to play about 55, 60, 65 games this season. This is one game. It can't be season defining. So that is just for that headline. But Andrew's absolutely correct that this is massive tomorrow night, because we're going to talk about it, but the draw for the next round is highly winnable. Whereas if we lose the next one in the Europa League, is highly losable. So it's a really, really important game, financially more than anything else. And I'm going to be one of those guys that I would say that if we end up in the Europa League and we were to get knocked out of that qualifier, I'd actually I would hate to be in the Conference League. I just think it's a waste of time. And don't get me wrong, you'd take it, but I noticed last year that Chelsea won almost exactly the same amount of money that we made out of the Europa League for winning the conference, and that's with the English TV money pot. Their percentage of that is massive compared to what we get. So if we go into the Conference League, heaven forbid, we'll come out with a few million quid and that'll be it. So tomorrow is really important for the prestige of it more than anything else. But in terms of defining the season and defining Russell Martin, not at all.
Huge thanks as well to Sean Abbott, who's made a donation tonight as well. Again, overwhelmed by everybody's support. Already members giving us, that kind of donation and things. Look, thank you very, very much. Don't like these things to kind of go unnoticed. I know it disrupts the flow slightly of what we're talking about, but it's a huge thank you and we really appreciate it. Andrew, Russell Martin said something today that if everybody had caught it, hopefully they noted, and it was that the team that starts tomorrow would be significantly different from the squad that we have towards the end of the window. Now, he said that a few times, but maybe things haven't happened as quickly out the door as he expected. I think that's a fair assumption. And I think there's most likely a number of things going on behind the scenes, which we'll talk about, the rumours of pending moves out the door, etc. That is a significant statement, though. It's not made lightly. He thinks it's going to be a lot different squad-wise. That tells us all, I think, realistically, that players will finally be going out the door. But not only that, there's still room for more to come in. We've signed 7 already. We probably need double that. Realistically, we might get another 3. If we got another 3, I'd be pretty happy. But there's still more to do. In terms of getting 7 in by this game tomorrow, they've probably done quite well considering how difficult it is this early in the summer. So, what do you make of that statement from Russell Martin?
I think it's an honest reflection on where we're at, because the team that takes the field tomorrow is going to look vastly different to the team that was taken to the field against Bruges a couple of weeks ago. And so I think it's only natural that the team in a few weeks, it's the end of the transfer windows in about 3 years, it feels like at this point. But it's a chunk of time that we'll need to see more surgery done to this squad. Because as you say, we've added 7, we could probably stand to add more. Cortez has officially joined us, so you could argue we've got 8 signings now because he's like a brand new signing, you see. We know that the forward areas are probably the most underserved so far, but that's going to come down to players potentially going out the door. I don't think we go out and spend a chunk of money on a new striker when we have 3 under contract in the room at the moment. So Martin has made a point, not in this press conference, but in the early one, of saying, we've got nearly 40 players who are currently in the squad right now. And so we know what has to happen as a result of that. But we need to start seeing people leaving. That opens up space. That means you can start adding in more quality. And it gets this squad to a position where it does look more like it can compete. It looks like it's not going to be able to only do good things in Europe, but also compete in the league as well. Because we cannot. It's all in good having a strong first 11, but to work over the course of a league season, you need to ensure that you have squad depth, that you are able to rotate these players in and out and put yourself in a position where you're not taking the starting 11 and just burning them out so that by the time we get to the winter break, they're done. So it absolutely is right that it's acknowledged that. I think it's good. I think it's a good statement of intent because I wouldn't like to think that our business was done now. So I'm encouraged by that. Let's say that.
Kenny, what did you make of those comments?
Very interesting because he was really quite. What was it he said? The way he put it, I really believe that. So that kind of suggests that behind closed doors, they know things are going on behind the scenes. That's what I would think, and they will have options that they have good to go, ready to go as soon as players start going out. But again, Andrew, you're bang on. We need players to go. It is blatantly obvious. On Russell Martin in general, I think he's been absolutely brilliant to listen to so far. Words count for nothing. We know that it's results that matter. But in terms of dealing with the press and dealing with questions that like that, where he's just managed to bat it off and say, no, this isn't season defining. The squad's going to look totally different in a few weeks. This kind of thing that he'll be far more aware than we are of what's going on behind the scenes, obviously. But in terms of this squad, we all know the situation. No, every single one of us has been talking about it for weeks now, that we are genuinely on that path where we understand that 7 or 8 of those guys have to go, and as quickly as possible. But then again, we're also fully aware, and I think you pointed to this on the review this morning, Stevie, that there's no way all of our business can get done in one window with the absolute crazy turnover that we're going to have over a period. And I do think that standing firm when things were robbing proper, which has been going on forever, I think that's a different mindset that the club has from manager and above, where they're actually looking at it now and saying, no, you'll pay for our players. And if that is making it take that little bit longer, then fine, because these guys are good businessmen. They know, you know, we've got professionals right through our football club again. So on his comments, perfectly delighted with them, because it does allude to stuff happening.
He also said, when he asked, what kind of team do you want Rangers to be? Dominant, in control, aggressive, fast, to outrun and outfight the opposition. I think we have to do that. It's easy to say things, Andrew. Very easy to say that's how we want our teams to look. If Rangers can look even like that, then we're going to be in a good position. And that's hopefully what we're going to start to see. It's not going to happen overnight. This is going to take 2-3 months. You know, but if we can start to see building blocks towards that kind of style, then I think we'll all get behind it pretty quickly.
Like you say, it sounds good, right? And Martin's been quite open about that. You know, his first press conference, he made that point. I want this team to be X. It's not going to look like that straight away. It's going to take time. But in the meantime, we still need to be winning games. We still need to be picking up points and making sure that we're advancing in competitions. So he's been clear about what needs to happen. I'd love to see us, you know, put on a performance tomorrow that was free-flowing and magnificent attacking football, but I'll settle for a 2-0 win. I'm not greedy, you know. It's Rangers. I want us to just win all the time. We're not asking much, obviously. So he's, as you say, Stevie, he's making the right noises, he's saying the right things, and I don't doubt his sincerity in what he's saying as well. He's been quite, I think, you know, careful, I'd say, with his words. He's not promising the world, but he is being clear about what he's expecting from this team. And I think it was a point that you and Davey Edgar made during the training camp as well, talking the players through and making the point to them about how they can better address situations. I think the man management thing has been clear already in terms of how he's working with this squad. I'm hopeful that he can continue to instill in these guys the belief and, you know, the desire to take themselves that step further, because we've got some players in the squad that have not impressed in the past, but they are here still. And while they're here, we want them to be impressing for us. We want them to be contributing. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, but I'm hopeful because he's saying the right things at the moment. Reserving the right to, you know, have a meltdown 10 minutes into the game when we're not 3-0 up already.
Me, a meltdown 10 minutes in? Never. Something like that. Good evening, Jeep from sunny Tenerife. I am not jealous in the slightest. I got absolutely soaked today at Rook and Glen. It is dreek here. So yeah, hope you're having a good time, buddy. Here's a quote from Russell Martin. This squad will look very different in 4 or 5 weeks. I'm convinced of that. But the team we have now, the squad we have now, we have to put in a performance that looks like us, feels like us, and one that can build off and ultimately win the game. And he's right. We have to use this tomorrow as a building block. It's a massive game. We now know our potential European games, and I'm going to bring them up because, of course, I don't remember. It's me. But if we get through the Champions League, we will face either Victoria, Plitzen, or Servette. Now, we could have Nice. We could have Fenerbahce. Now, we did beat them last year. Yeah, fine. It's different for Nice in a group stage. And, these things, if it's knockout, teams are different. And then, if that doesn't go well against Panathinaikos and we drop into the Europa League, we play Shakhtar Donetsk or Besiktas, which isn't really worth thinking about, to be quite honest with you. If we were to go out there, we parachute into the Conference League, which, again, I'm with Kenny. As much as people might think, oh, we'll just go and win that, it's a lot of dead games. And that's the issue with me. It's great for a smaller team. Rangers really, really need to be competing in the Champions League. If we can't get there, the Europa League is where we need to be. The Conference League, I'm not sure the appetite for that would be great. Panathinaikos, getting past them would guarantee us Europa League football. So that's straight away. If we were to get past both of these group or the qualifying games in Panathinaikos and in either Plitzen or Servette, we would qualify to get the £5 million parachute money from Champions League. That would require one last playoff round to get into the group stages, or out at that point, we go straight into Europa, but we'd also get a £5 million parachute. So these are vital games. Panathinaikos, if you don't go through there, it starts a spiral of it becoming extremely difficult. I don't fancy Shakhtar Donetsk or Besiktas in terms of those trips and that. That's going to be really difficult. Kenny, we know our European future. It's easier probably in the Champions League than it is in the Europa, but it would become really difficult if Rangers were to go out against Panathinaikos. So this, although it's not season defining, it could, and I think that's fair. And we have to bear in mind that this is a new start and everything else. I get it, but it is so vital.
Yeah, it is vital, and it's very difficult to kind of look at it in a perspective where you can't but look at it and say that the Champions League tie in the next round is probably an easier tie than the Europa League tie for me, because both those sides will be very difficult. Shakhtar Donetsk are always decent. Besiktas they'll have plenty of decent players. They spend fortunes on the players, so and you're going to Turkey, so it's going to be tough. Pilsen are always a good side, aren't they? Servette, you would think they'll probably get past them. That would be my thinking. I know very little about either of them, to be fair, but just in terms of their reputation, I would think that Victoria Pilsen will probably get through that. But that's a winnable tie. We've been to Sparta and Slavia over the last few years. They're kind of very level, those three sides, aren't they? They kind of share their league very often, and that's how important it is for me that you would look at that next tie and say that's very winnable. It's probably, I'm not saying it's easier than this tie, but it's not, on paper anyway, it's not any more difficult. So it gives us a great opportunity, and the confidence that the squad would take from getting past this one, going into the next one, and if the season up and running and I've had a few games, if you were to get past the next one, it's a perfect start for Russell Martin and his new squad. And you're not even going to be that disappointed, depending on the playoff, if we were to get there, whether we get there or not, because this is a new squad. It's a new team with a new manager, new everything, and you'll make allowances for it. However, as you say, for me personally, you'll give them all the credit for doing that. And I would hope that fans don't go crazy if we don't get past this one and we don't get past the next one. That you just have to accept the fact that this is where we are at this moment in time. But I genuinely believe that if we were to end up in the conference, I would almost be sitting saying, right, well, that's your second string that's going out there in those group stages, and you focus on domestic football. Because, with all respect, even our squad players should be capable of getting through to those, at least those playoffs in the conference.
Yeah, I don't really want to think about the conferences. As I said, as much as people think it's a free hit to try and get to a European final, it's not in any way glamorous for what we need. Andrew, what did you make of those European draws?
I mean, yeah, it's clear that, oddly enough, the Champions League, it looks like, on paper at least, the easier route. And I think it just underlines why I think this ties, it represents a good opportunity for us, more than anything else. We get past Pana and it sets us up really nicely. It gives us what looks like a good run. And I mean, we knew the significance of this game already in terms of a win here guarantees European football, regardless of what happens. We can go and lose all the next games and we'll still have European football, group stage football, once the qualifying rounds are done. So it just reconfirms how important this tie is for me. I know that we're saying it's not season defining, but for me, I think it gives you a fantastic platform to set yourself up on. I think I get Russell Martin's acknowledged that it is a big game, but it's going to be very important for us.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Stephen asked if we win both rounds, are we straight into Conference League? If we get beat by Panathinaikos and then slapped about by Shakhtar or Besiktas, we have to play somebody else in a playoff to get into the conference group stages. If you get through past Pana, you're straight into the Europa League if you get put out by Plitzen or Servette. So I hope that's clear. Yep. Something like that. Anyway, I've had to read up on this, pretending that I'm informed. That's not the truth. I just go to Rangers Review and read what Joshua says. And I go to Gavin on Scotland Coefficients as well on X and read what he says too. So well done, lads, because you keep me informed. So I really appreciate that. Right, let's move on before we finish up. Let's talk transfers. The never-ending. People will tell you on this chat, I absolutely cannot stand reports that go and say, like this morning, Hamza Igamane to Lille, here we go soon, little egg timer. It's so boring, but Hamza Igamane is again linked with Lille. He's been linked, I think, with Everton, Udinese, and tonight, apparently, Feyenoord have thrown their hat into the ring, and they're prepared, apparently, to match Rangers' £15 million transfer asking fee. Once again, there's no bids been made. It's all talk. It's quite tiresome. It's a little bit boring. And it's constant. And it's the same reports. It's the same. I cannot be bothered with here we go soon and all this nonsense that happens. Unless it's coming from the guys you can really trust. Unless it's from Fabrizio and stuff like that. Then he can use that. But the other accounts, no. It's very tiresome, Kenny. This has been going on now for the last 4 or 5 weeks. We've not even had a bid yet. It's getting on my tits. Look, I'm going to put it right out there.
Yeah, it's getting on mine too. And very healthy they are as well. Look, for me, it is one of these situations where I see at times like this year as well, just staying off social media, because I think I've seen 3 separate things today. One was Feyenoord, one was Lille, one was I think it was Udinese are now put their hat in the ring as well. And it is egg timers and eyes and here we goes and piss off. Honestly, it's so tedious. And as you say, it's happening with different players. And Mo Diamandi last week had it a couple of times as well, didn't he? It's just constant, and there just doesn't seem to be an element of truth to it whatsoever. However, I do think that the interest in Hamza Igamane from certain quarters is probably very real. But these guys are just pissing in the wind, mate. They're just going with where the wind blows and taking a punt and taking a guess. And I just find it really, like you, a really kind of tedious state of affairs when you jump onto Twitter and you see these things. And what really grinds my gears about it actually is the amount of Rangers fans that start retweeting it, and all of a sudden it becomes a snowball effect, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and people are all starting talking about it. And then when you actually go straight to the source, there's some wee dumpling with 1,500 followers in Outer Mongolia or something like that, and you're like, well, how the hell do you know? You know. So I'm with you on it. I just find it kind of tedious and pathetic. You know, whatever happens is going to happen, and as you say, proper sources will tell you. And if you're looking for Ranger sources, I would suggest that, without being smarmy or cheesy, you stick here, go to the Rangers Review, go to Heart and Hand, go to guys that will tell you the truth, because you're not going to get it on social media.
The truth about Hamza Igamane is he's a 4-year contract. He's very happy at Rangers. That's the truth. There was a bit of a mix-up with his visa because he only got it last year, and it was a year, and the club thought it was longer. He thought it was longer. He's here. He's happy. He's happy to be here. And unless teams want to actually spend money, all this nonsense online about he's agreed this and he's agreed that, and same with Cyril Dessers. Cyril Dessers wants to go to Greece and all that. It's all nonsense. So let's just get on with it. We'll see what's happening. Andrew, it's becoming tedious. I don't mind teams being interested in players, but the reporting of it has become tedious. Lille are obviously floating about, but if you want them, pay. If you don't, you know, the reporting and stuff, it's just, you know what I mean? Don't want to say
Stevie. No, of course not. No, I'm very respectful when it comes to this sort of thing, Stevie. Listen, we're part of the ecosystem, so I don't want to be too harsh on people who, you know, sit and talk about what's going on for Rangers on the internet, because that's what we do as well. But we generally stick to known things. We stick to what we are aware of, or we stick with facts. And the facts are, as far as I'm aware at least, and please correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't received bids for either Igamane or for Dessers. Or at the very least, we haven't received any bids that meet what we think our valuation is. So that's it. They're not going to go anywhere until we do receive bids. And with this transfer window still having plenty of time to run, this is going to go on and on. But the players were both training today and both look very happy to be there. So, yeah, and until we actually see some concrete bids, then they're not going anywhere. I think for me, I'm happy enough that we have players who are saleable assets, because there are times last season when I don't think you could have convinced me that we would have anyone we could give away. So this is a nice thing to be having, even if folk are, let's say, underbidding.
Technically, I think Dessers, we did get a bid, and it was derisory. It was miles away from Rangers want £5 million for Cyril Dessers, and I think the bid was in the region of 2, and that's never going to happen. Big Cyril, incidentally, he looked like he was dribbling round the cones or the stick things quite the thing today. So he'll get on tomorrow, and I'm sure that if the opportunity presents himself, he'll be there to try and get on the end of it. So let's just wait and see with regards to that. What else do we know? Robin Proper, that is still ongoing. Nobody really knows what's happening with it. He is not in the European squad, so he won't feature tomorrow, and he will, I think, eventually move on, whether or not it's to 20 at the moment or somebody else, but he doesn't have a future at Rangers. I think that's clear. Ridvan Yilmaz, linked again, speculation that he's close to a move home to Turkey. We wouldn't miss that. He's clearly not got a future at Rangers again, not in the European squad. Ross McCausland, rumoured to be close to a move to Aris in Greece. Is it Greece? Cyprus? Where is it? Cyprus, Greece? Over there, yep. Over where it's hot and nice, not where it's here. You can get money in for these guys, it starts to become better. Kenny, there's nobody in this group that we're talking about that is going to be anywhere close to our first team and that we're going to worry about leaving. As I said this morning, there's 7 or 8 of them that could go out tomorrow and you would not miss any of them, but we do want it to start happening quickly.
We do need it to happen. We kind of focused a little bit on it 20 minutes ago or whatever, where we did say that we are at that point where Russell Martin and Kevin Thelwell, Dan Purdy have been brilliant. They've got 7 in. I think we lost 4 or 5, maybe 6 players in total. I can't remember. There was a couple of loan signings, Casemiro and Cherny and stuff like that, went away back to the parent club as well. And we've lost it. So we're probably 1 or 2 too overstretched in terms of numbers. We know that. However, the situation is that this is a squad of players that finished 17 points behind last season, didn't win a trophy, and we need upgrades. And the only way we can do that is to get what are some very hefty earners off the books. That's the only way we can do it. You can't just keep adding. So fair play to them for bringing the young lad Gassama in last week and saying, no, this is a priority. We need a winger because we need cover over these 2 games. And they've went out and they spent a couple of million quid, 2.5 million on the boy, despite the fact that they know we have to get players off this wage bill. Guys like Ridvan and Matondo and Cifuentes, Ben Davis, Robin Proper, Leon King, Ross McCausland, there's more. If you're being honest, Kieran Dowell's another one. I actually, you guys were talking earlier on about playing Kieran Dowell on the right. I actually wouldn't. I would play Gassama for an hour and on that side if I have to. On the other side, I would start beyond Cortez and bring Hamza Igamane on that side if I have to. He played there last season and did okay for the last half hour if he's not fit enough to start. But that's where we're at. We can be under no illusions that we knew a lot of our squad players were pretty much not good enough last season. I nearly swore, Andrew, but they were rotten. And that was our struggle all season last season. That our first 11 was all right at times, but once we hit injuries, there was nothing backing that up whatsoever. So we are at that stage where, can you just go, please? I'll do a wee prayer and everything if some of them just go, because this thing with Robin Proper is a prime example. It's not about 2 weeks ago Russell Martin turned around and said to us that we had accepted a bid. What's he hanging about? What is the man waiting for? Just go. And I understand there could be a financial situation. Get it dealt with. Get him out.
Thank you, Brian Robertson, who's tonight became a YouTube member. We really appreciate that. A load of people talking about Owen Beck and this report of £10 million. We are not spending £10 million on a left back. We are not spending £10 million on anyone. I would be amazed if we do. And if we do, I'd really want it to be on a game-changing, attacking style player. Owen Beck, as far as I'm aware, is off to Derby on loan. I think that's pretty close. So I wouldn't expect Rangers to be anywhere near. I did laugh when I seen the 10 million thing and thought to myself, it's probably closer to $1 million in our bracket, but we're certainly not spending 10 million on anybody at 7 million bids and all. No, I don't see that. I would be amazed if that happened for Owen Beck at left back. I'd be expecting a lot more. But that's it. I think it's now all eyes upon tomorrow night, Panathinaikos. It is a big one. We will have full coverage, myself and Davey Heard are there. Kenny will be at the game. Andrew will be getting sozzled in London watching it, no doubt, because that's what he does. But Kenny, are you looking forward to being back at Ibrox? Just your kind of final summary before we end the show.
Bring a noise tomorrow. We're going to need it. Squad, these players need it. New manager wants to hear it. Please bring the noise. Make it as raucous and as rowdy as we can, because they wouldn't be the first side that's absolutely crashed their bottle when they hear it. And we do need it. These new young players, let's give them an experience. Let's give them the best welcome we can and back them for the 90 minutes, because it's not going to be plain sailing. It's not going to be perfect. We know Russell Martin's already said that this will take a while to get properly up and running, the system that he wants to play and the way he wants the players to go and focus on controlling and dictating and, demanding the ball and all these things. Really excited for it. I'm genuinely I've not been this buzzing about going to a first game of the season for a long, long time. And I don't know if it's just the overall picture with new owners, new everything. I'm just really excited and hoping that we turn up tomorrow and team plays well and it's not chucking it down, mate. Please not be chucking it down.
Oh, absolutely. Don't like the rain. I've got my hair to think about. Andrew, you'll be in London enjoying your night. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been to the beer keller. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the lads again. And I'll be inside, so, if it does hose down with rain, at least I'll be in the nice warm underground getting drunk. So, yeah, I'm very excited about that. It's Ibrox. It's a European night. There's always something a little bit more special about that. Rangers under the lights, Ibrox under the lights. It's always just a little bit more special. So I'm excited for it. I think it'll be it's going to be an interesting test of where we are, if I'm being sensible. But really, I'm looking forward to just watching the football again with my mates.
Yeah, and that is us. We, as I said, repeating myself several times, but we will be at Ibrox tomorrow night. David Hurd and I will be reporting. Matchday vlog will go out just as a recording just after full time. We're not allowed to go live or vlog or anything from the gantry due to Champions League rules. So I did have that clarified today by Rangers. So that's all good. That will be out after full time. So hopefully you'll check that out. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Of course, I'm excited. I think that I really want Russell Martin to do well. He wasn't my choice. I don't think that needs repeated, but he has charmed me. Absolutely. When you sit and spend time with Russell Martin, you can see why he's so well liked and why so many people talk about him, because he is a really nice guy. He's really down to earth, and I really hope it goes well for him at Rangers, because if it does, then we'll all be happy. So ahead of tomorrow night, bring the noise. Get behind the club as much as we can. There will be all eyes on us and how we behave and what we're doing. The club issued that warning tonight, so just be wary of that. But I fancy Rangers to do the business tomorrow night. I fancy them to start strong. So I'm hoping for a really good night, and let's all get behind the team and hopefully we can do it. So we'll see tomorrow, but feeling positive. But I would feel positive against anybody. I'm stupid like that. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, thank you to our sponsors, Rhino Express, Cliveview Joinery, Athlo Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioning, our friends, our sponsors. Thank you all for your support. Our partners, Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Members in the YouTube section, there is a competition before tomorrow night. Get your score predictions and first goal scorers in for the Black Rooster competition. You will see it on the members only section. If you call it right, you will win a Black Rooster next time you're at the football. So get your predictions in and go from there. As of everybody tomorrow night, good luck to the team. Good luck to the manager. Let's bring the noise. Good luck, Rangers. Let's go. Have a good night, folks. Take care. Thanks for joining us.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Cliveview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.